It's a little emotional to be standing here. This film is special for me because the seed of the idea for this film, Vinod told me the day I first met him. It was not to happen for many years, many years, more than a decade after that. But he told me about two chess players and the thriller around it, that far back in time. And then we attempted an English language film for 4 years called 64 Squares. And my learning in cinema, in screenwriting, I would say happened through that process of scripting. Vinod was my mentor through that process. And at the end of it, though that film could not happen at that time, it had equipped me, I believe, to be able to write Lagero Munna Bhai. Because Raju read that script and trusted me, after a few mishaps, I have to admit, but trusted me to write Lagero Munna Bhai with him. So this film is truly special for me. Vinod, I still call Alexia, which is based on the name of the character in the English film that we are attempting. Someday we'll make it, that film also. And it's a double blessing today because Javed Saab is here. Like Ekalavya, I think, why just I, all writers from in India must have learned their craft from him and Salim Saab. He's clearly the wittiest man I've ever met in my life. We used to hear the stories of Birbal, Oscar Wilde, Bernard Shaw. Sometimes we do not recognize that a Bernard Shaw or an Oscar Wilde is among us. And it's irritating that when we only hear about Coppola's and Scorsese's, we do not recognize talents of even greater dimension just because they are close to us. Javed Saab, I cannot tell you how much we have learned from you, and it's a real privilege, sir, that I'm able to say that to you in person today. Thank you, sir, for coming.
Abhijat, we often hear writers complaining about how underpaid and undercredited they are in the industry. Have you ever faced any such problems at the beginning of your career, and what do you think should the industry do to rectify this problem?
You know, I think writers themselves have a lot to do with, there is a competence issue as well, you know. So I think it's a complicated question. You just can't say that, you know, I deserve to be famous. You know, you need to deliver for a long time. Having said that, the problem exists. You know the names of playwrights. You don't know the names of screenwriters. 20 playwrights have won the Nobel Prize. In 100 years of cinema, not one screenwriter has even been nominated, not even Cesar Zavattini, the father of neo-realist cinema. Javed Saab himself and Salim Saab, I think through the consistency of the work and the genius of the work, were able to break through and break these shackles. And he has done a lot to educate the public about this problem. So for the first time, I heard about Mr. Wazahat Mirza, who had written Mother India and Mughal-e-Azam from Javed Saab's mouth, you know, and I felt ignorant that I didn't know this gentleman's name. Or he had the capacity to educate India that Mr. Anand Bakshi's songs are no less than the mightiest of the mighty poets. They have the same kind of literary merit, but just because he happens to write for cinema, he would not get his due. So I think the problem exists, but I think the only solution is to go on creating to the best of your ability, and that's the only thing that they have been able to prove, that if you do it consistently enough, long enough, then people they have no option but to notice. The first film that Vinod, that I had the privilege to see Vinod's film, was a film called Khamosh. And it was a beautiful suspense thriller. And, you know, I used to hear this, that ये किसी फिल्म की कॉपी है. मतलब इतना लो सेल्फ एस्टीम अपना कि हर किसी को यही लगता था कि कहानी इतनी अच्छी है और सस्पेंस थ्रिलर है तो ज़रूर वो कोई चोरी की कहानी होगी. So I remember that when I asked Vinod, he was so annoyed that we were on the terrace and he said, "Acha, how about that moon? Is that also fake, or do you think that's original?" I mean, for many minutes he kept ragging me about that, about just the audacity of the question. That if it was taken from somewhere, I would have acknowledged that. You know, so clearly from that time onwards, there was this bent in him. I think thriller is his greatest forte. So, and he educated me in that genre. And when he handed the reins to Bijoy, he had the conviction that he is one of the finest visualizers in the country. And he was confident that he will be able to deliver. So I'm going to make a claim here that this film probably eclipses Khamosh, and it becomes probably the finest suspense thriller that this country has seen yet.